A conservative Republican decided to embarrass himself at Bernie Sanders' town hall last night on CNN. He asked a ridiculous question. Let's watch and then we'll break it down.
My question is this. I'm a business owner, and we just keep getting kicked in the teeth by this administration. It's regulation after regulation and tax upon tax. What Donald Trump does understand is the complexities of business and, to reward the person who takes the risk. So really, my question is, this country was founded on entrepreneurship. Why is this administration so against the business owner? Please tell me.
I don't think this administration, the Obama administration you're referring to, is so against the business owners. When you talk about tax increases, Obama did. I don't know your income, and I'm not concerned about your income. Obama did raise taxes on the top. Excuse me. He raised taxes on the top 1 or 2%. And you know what? I would have gone further. I think the wealthiest people in this country are doing phenomenally well. 52% of all new income generated today goes to the top 1%. So you and I may have a difference. But yeah, I do believe that billionaires and multimillionaires should be paying more in taxes.
I'm a business owner. I'm not a multimillionaire. I'm not a billionaire. Okay? I mean, you haven't lived until you put a payroll on your credit card. This is the reality of the backbone of this country.
Well, the backbone of this country, I think we should support entrepreneurship. I think we should support small business. But I am not supportive of large multinational corporations that make billions a year in profit and don't pay a nickel in taxes, nor am I supportive of those corporations who throw American workers out on the street and then move to China or to Mexico.
What about the small businesses?
I think we should be supportive.
Do you think there's space to work with Trump on that? He's talked a lot about getting rid of regulations.
Well, you can't say, what does that mean? Should a small business or a large business be able to pollute the water or the air or the food? No, I hope you don't believe that.
I don't pollute air, I don't pollute water, I don't pollute food. However, when these rules and regulations come in to cover all of business, and you're trying to start a business, it's tough enough in the
Jim, I think we should take a look at it, but it's, the devil is in the details. We got to see what those regulations are. Some of them, by the way, may not all. It's very easy to blame Barack Obama for everything, by the way. Some of those regulations may be state, maybe they're local. I don't know exactly the federal regulations that
But you're saying you're open to looking at.
Of course, look, if there's a regulation that doesn't make any sense, why do you keep it?
That was painful to watch. It's like you have somebody who's drunk on Fox News bullshit, and Bernie's doing his best to unbrainwash him, bring him back to reality so that he can then help the guy to help himself. It's like Bernie's there trying to do right by people, trying to do right by regular people, and then guys like this who have just completely and utterly fallen for the bullshit are standing in his way. They're standing in the way of legislation that would help regular people because they've been convinced by corporate propaganda that the person who's trying to help him is the person who's actually hurting him. Man, that was sad to watch. It's sad to watch. I mean, there's no other way to describe it other than that guy is drunk on Fox News. Because let's dissect his arguments a little bit here. He says, why is this, his question was, quote, why is this administration so against business owners? What kind of a question is that? He says, with this administration, it's regulation after regulation, tax after tax. Here's what I do if I'm Chris Cuomo in that situation. And here's what I do if I'm Bernie Sanders. I say, give me the specific regulation you're referring to that concerns you. Or, you know what? If it's not just one, because you said regulation after regulation is the problem to you. So give me 4, 5, 6 different regulations that are concerning you. You say tax after tax, that's the problem. So give me the tax that's concerning you, or give me, 4 or 5 different taxes that are concerning you. Because you say, you're making a specific claim. This administration, regulation after regulation is the problem, tax after tax. Which regulation? Which tax? I guarantee you, if you press him on that, he doesn't have an answer. Now, he doesn't have an answer because, he's drunk on Fox News and Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck and all these other morons. So he heard that vague talking point, that generalized talking point, and he regurgitates it. But if you press him on it, he crumbles like a house of cards. Because you want to know how I know that he has no answer to that? Very simple. In Obama's first term alone, he did over a dozen small business tax cuts. That's exactly what this guy says he's concerned about. Oh, small business. Why is this administration so against businesses? Specifically small businesses. I own a small business. Why is he so against me? Why is he so against small businesses? It is a fact that Obama did over a dozen small business tax cuts in his first term alone. You want to talk about business friendly? How about the fact that the marketplace nearly doubled since he took office? We were losing 800,000 jobs a month when Obama took office. Now we've created over 12 million jobs in his time in office. Look, and these, by the way, are not economic indicators that I would normally parrot as a line of success. But I'm just telling you that this directly contradicts the argument that this idiot is making. Because he's the one that's saying, oh my God, they're so against small business. If they're so against business and small business, why is it that the market doubled? Why is it that there's been over 12 million jobs created? Why is it that he did more than a dozen, more than 12 small business tax cuts? It's because your narrative is complete and utter bullshit. Now, the whole point of a guy like Bernie Sanders, he makes it seem like, oh, Bernie, he's coming to overregulate me, or a random small business guy. You heard him say it right there. There's not a single liberal I know in the country who's like, hey, by the way, we should do burdensome regulations on small businesses to make it so that it makes their life harder for no reason. Nobody says that. Nobody believes that. As Bernie said, of course, if there's unnecessary red tape that makes your life hard and it's not there for any fucking reason, of course we'd get rid of it. But what Bernie's talking about is he's concerned about multinational corporations and the fact that they, for example, store billions, if not trillions of dollars overseas in profits, and they don't pay their taxes, and they shift the burden onto regular people, and they get deregulation that, puts them in a position where they then crash the fucking economy because the people on Wall Street are not the smartest guys in the room. And they've proven that when you let them do whatever they want, they end up crashing the economy. So this is what Bernie's concerned about. Bernie's concerned about income inequality, which is a result of class warfare. Not from the little guy on the rich, but from the rich on the little guy. So this guy, he is a useful idiot to corporate America. Part of me feels bad for him. The other part of me says, you're your own problem, guy. Because here you have a politician, one of the few principled politicians in America, who's fighting to do the right thing by the American people. He's fighting to increase everybody's standard of living. He's fighting to make it so that we have free healthcare, free college, like other modern nations. He's fighting to have a minimum wage that's a living wage. He's fighting for the people, and you're standing in his way with nonsense talking points that simply aren't true or based in reality. And you think the people who are going to help you are the crowd that fucked everything up in the first place and continue to screw you. And it's hilarious that, he's specifically pointing to, it's tax after tax after tax. Again, I just told you, Obama cut taxes for small businesses. But you know who's actually raising taxes on middle-class people right now? Republicans. We did this story yesterday. They're state Republicans. Oklahoma, Mississippi, Kansas, a bunch of different states where they tried trickle-down economics for the longest time. Cut taxes on the rich and everybody will be great. No, it turns out the rich took that money and hoarded it. The unemployment is worse for regular people. And there's now a giant hole in the deficit. So now they're like, oh shit, we got to close this deficit gap. What do we do? They're finally like, okay, we got to raise taxes. So what are they going to do? Are they going to go back and roll back the tax cuts they did for the rich and the tax cuts they did for businesses? No. What are they going to do? They're pawning off the tax burden to guys like this, middle income guys. They decided, let's do the regressive taxes. Instead of rolling back the tax cuts for the rich, let's do the regressive taxes. So in other words, let's do a sales tax. Let's do a gas tax. Let's do the taxes that affect the little guy. It's the oldest trick in the book. The Republicans scream, oh, we're for cutting taxes, cutting taxes, cutting taxes. They only cut it for the rich. Then when there's a giant hole in the deficit, they raise taxes on the middle class and the poor. And the entire time they take the mantle of, we're looking out for the little guy. No, you're not. And this guy, guys like this show, there's still people out there that chug that right-wing Kool-Aid.